Everyone and welcome back to the Football Forecast, and in today's video I'll be going for my Premier League predictions for game week 17. If you enjoy this video, it would be great if you subscribe to the YouTube channel as well as liking the video. Starting off with Newcastle at home to Chelsea. Chelsea have been out of sorts recently, haven't been quite at their best after the win against Barcelona. Newcastle United will be disappointed, really disappointed with the fact that they lost the time-weird derby away from home at Sunderland. And look, their away form this season hasn't been good enough. Thankfully for them, this game is at home. It's also an early kickoff. Chelsea and Newcastle would have played in the Cup. Newcastle the day a day after against Fulham. And I do wonder, will that take a bit out of Newcastle for this game? Chelsea have Cole Palmer back as well, and if you watch that Newcastle performance you would be very uninspired, and they're probably quite down after that loss to Sunderland. But what they need here is a massive response after a dreadful loss. Do I see this happening? I think they may get some sort of response, but not the response that they actually need in this game. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I don't think this would be a terrible result for both sides. I think going away to Newcastle is still a difficult game despite them not being at their best so far this season. I do think though for Eddie Howe, he needs to start picking up the form, otherwise he could come under pressure. I don't think the fans will turn, but at some point the Saudi Arabia owners may start to get frustrated with him. Then we're on to Wolves at home to Brentford. Wolves are absolutely shocking, we know this. They showed some fight though against Arsenal, and they may start playing with a bit of freedom now, Wolves, because I don't think there's any chance of them staying up. They will be pretty fearless and not that worried about sort of the results in the games now, because is there actually any chance of staying up? I think Rob Edwards is starting to do well with the squad considering how poor it really is. But will they have enough to go and get something against Brentford at home? Well, Brentford's away form's actually not very good at all. Their home form is very good, but Brentford could be a lot better away from home. But I still think surely they have enough quality to get the job done in this game. I'm going to go with a 2-0 win for Brentford. Then we're on to Manchester City at home to West Ham. And this is another chance for Manchester City to continue to pile the pressure on Arsenal. If they win this game, they will go above Arsenal before they play their fixture away at Everton, which could be a difficult game for them. I do think this is a very favourable fixture for Manchester City at home to West Ham, considering the fact that West Ham are struggling right now. They're not where they need to be. I think they've been better under Nuno. I think there's no doubt about that than they were under Graham Potter. But they're still not good enough, and they're still really struggling around. Will they actually stay up in the league? Because I thought they were going to stay up. I thought they were starting to turn around. But then Leeds have started picking up a lot more points. Leeds look like a completely different side all of a sudden. And I think this is turning into games where West Ham, look, this is an incredibly difficult game, but they need to start picking up points from somewhere. I don't think it's going to be this game, though. I can't see much of a world where West Ham get anything from this game. I'm going with a 3-0 win for Manchester City. I think this will be really dominant. And in Turkey especially are really starting to get into form for Manchester City, which has been vital in their turnaround. So then we're on to Brighton, Sunderland, and Sunderland are coming off that really impressive time-weird derby, and it is their first game without the 6 players that have gone off to AFCON. And who are the big losses for this? Siddiqui and Ronaldo. Siddiqui especially, who's been absolutely brilliant for Sunderland so far this season. They've still got the likes of Daniel, Chris Rigg, Lafitte, all players that can play in this role, but they've also lost Traore and Talby on the wing. So it's going to be interesting to see how Sunderland set up. I don't think it changes the result for this game hugely. I think Sunderland probably took quite a lot out of that game against Newcastle, and I do think that Brighton are a strong side right now, especially at home. And Brighton, despite losing to Liverpool, but they had chances in this game. They're really impressive throughout so far this season, looking like a side that could definitely challenge for European football, like Sunderland. For this game, I think I'm going to go with a Brighton win. I do think Sunderland are going to struggle. I'm going to go with a 2-0 win for Brighton. We're on to Bournemouth-Burnley, where Scott Parker returns back to the former club he managed in Bournemouth. And this is an important game for Scott Parker in terms of his job. Burnley fans are starting to turn. And look, Burnley's squad is poor, there's no doubt about this. And it looks very unlikely they will stay up anyway. But I think Burnley fans are hoping maybe they get a new manager in. Maybe they start having a manager bounce, and that will allow them to at least give themselves some sort of chance in staying up. Right now, I really can't see a world where Burnley stay up in the Premier League right now. I think for this game, I'm definitely going to go with a Bournemouth win. They've been struggling recently, Bournemouth, but I still think they've got enough to get the job done. I am going to go with a 3-1 win for Bournemouth. I reckon this will be reasonably dominant. So then we're on to Spurs at home to Liverpool. Two managers that are definitely under pressure. We've got Thomas Frank at Spurs and Arne Slot at Liverpool. There are signs that Slot is starting to turn it around with Liverpool, sort of packing that midfield and relying more onto the work rate. Salah will not be available because of AFCON, but I don't think this is hugely important for this game. Mo Salah hasn't been at his best so far this season, and in some ways Liverpool have looked like a better side without Mo Salah. Definitely in terms of defensively, a big one could be Dominic Szoboszlai. Is he available for this game? We're about to find out. If he's not, then I definitely think Spurs have a chance in this game. But Spurs are just nowhere near where they need to be right now. A 3-0 loss to Forest, I think, is once again turned more fans on Frank. And I just really uninspired when I watch them, especially at home, and they're going to have to really be at their best to win this game. I just think that Spurs are going to struggle once again in this game. I think this could be a big game for Liverpool. If Liverpool can win this, then they have Wolves and Leeds at home, which can allow them to get on a bit of a run. Don't see us pushing for the title, but I think we can at least sort of start getting on a bit of a run and putting some form together, which is really important in terms of at least putting ourselves in a strong position for Champions League football. For this game, I think I'm going to go with a 2-0 away win for Liverpool. We're starting to become a lot more solid as a side, and I think we've got good enough to get this result. Then we're on to Leeds hosting Crystal Palace, and this has to be a game where Leeds look at it and go, we can 100% win this, because Crystal Palace have got so many fixtures to play, and they have just played, and they would have just played in the Europa Conference League 2 days ago. That is 1 day rest ahead of this game, and for me, I think straight away go advantage Leeds. They're also at home, where Leeds have been a lot stronger as a side. Dominic Calvert-Lewin is starting to come into form. Last game against Brentford, I thought he was excellent, but overall Calvert-Lewin's looking like a way better player, and if Leeds can win this, then they can definitely put some momentum together ahead of the rest of the season. I think for this game, Leeds are going to have enough. I think they're starting to turn a corner under Daniel Farke, something I really didn't see coming. So for this game, I'm actually going to go with a 2-1 win for Leeds. So then we're on to Everton at home to Arsenal, and I think this can cause Arsenal some problems. This will be a real test for them. Their record away at Everton of recent times has been really poor, and I think this is a game where Arteta's going to be looking at saying, we've got to win this, and this is the sort of game I think you win if you end up winning the league. This is the sort of game where you don't drop points. Look at Manchester City. I don't think Manchester City would lose this sort of game, but I could definitely see Arsenal losing it. I was really unimpressed with their game against Wolves. I think there are some learning points in that home game against Wolves in terms of what they did in the last 10 minutes of sort of dropping in so deep. Something we have seen Arsenal do recently, but I think they need to look at that and say, could have we done something different? I think a key for Arsenal was to go for that second goal, something that I think they need to do a lot more. Do I think it will cost them in this game? Potentially, but I think I'm going to back the Arsenal win still. I'm going to go with a 2-1 win for Arsenal. I could see a similar result to what happened against Wolves. If they can win here, I think that's a massive result for the title race. If they lose here, I'm going to start thinking Manchester City may be the favourites for the title after all. And if this happens, Arteta is going to be under all sorts of pressure. So then we're on to Aston Villa hosting Manchester United. And look, Aston Villa recording against Manchester United recently hasn't actually been that good. But the form they're in, it's hard to see them not winning this game, especially at Villa Park. United have 3 key players out because of AFCON. Mazraoui, Amad Diallo, Brian Mbeumo, their whole right-hand side, which I think has been vital to why United haven't had the worst season so far. I think that right-hand side is basically what's keeping Manchester United sort of higher up in the table and not sort of in bottom half, especially Mbeumo and Amad Diallo. So it's going to be interesting to see what he does. Will he adapt? Will he change? Unlikely, as Ruben Amorim hasn't done this any time so far at United. For Villa, they continue to overperform and expect the goals, mainly because of a player like Morgan Rogers, who continues to score absolute screamers from outside the box, but they've just got loads of players that have the ability to do this. For this game, I think Villa will have enough to get the job done. I'm struggling with a score prediction. I can see a lot of different results. I'm going to go with a 2-1 win for Aston Villa in this game. So finally, we're finishing off with Fulham at home to Nottingham Forest. And Fulham have lost some crucial players because of AFCON. Calvin Bassey, Chukwueze and Alex Iwobi all for Nigeria. But someone like Harry Wilson is in great form right now for Fulham. Nottingham Forest haven't had their best of season so far, but they started to turn around under Sean Dyche. I think they're going to be incredibly solid in this game, hard to break down. But I just think Fulham is such a talented side right now, and maybe they could get the win in this game. I think because of those players out, I'm actually going to go for a draw in this game. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw between Fulham and Nottingham Forest. Let me know your score predictions and what your thoughts are on the games for game week 17. And if you enjoy this, it would be great if you subscribe to this channel as well as liking the video.